Hi, David Pinson here, Philippine Bible Ministries. So here's a thought. Might not be a very popular thought. So there's these things I call them. I don't know what they're lies that Satan has brought into the church. There's a few of them. We're not going to go into all of that, but the big one, one of the big ones, is in the what I call the worldly church, which you decide whether you know about these or not. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you think I'm crazy, and maybe I am. The idea that I got from another old writer named was Samuel Norris, I think his name was. Um, anyway, he said the lie that Satan brings in is that worldly comfort. What is it? Hang on. I want to make sure I don't mess this up because it was right here in front of me. Um, now I got to find it. Pleasures. Hang on. No, let me find it. Riches and comforts are better for our children than poverty and dependence. Of course, that's true. You don't want to be in poverty. You want to be rich. You want to have stuff. You want to work hard. The American is the greatest country because we have the most stuff, and we work hard, and we have really nice places, and it's beautiful, and nothing wrong with beautiful and working hard and having nice stuff. But so here's the but: dependence. So poverty and dependence, not necessarily poverty, not necessarily the idea that everybody should be starving and struggling, but the idea that dependence on God is a lot better than wealth and comfort. And most people don't want to say that. Think about this. You have a big church, I don't know, 3 services a day, maybe 1,000 people, I don't know, maybe 400 people, maybe 1,200 people, 2,000 people going to your church, I don't know, thousands. And your pastor has a good living, lives in a good house, upper middle class, and maybe a swimming pool, and everybody, just most people go to church, have stuff, and they're well, maybe middle class, upper middle class, but they have no dependence on the Lord. They talk like they do. Oh yeah, we trust God. God is faith. God is good. But then what do they talk about when they're hanging out in their barbecues? They talk about, oh, we're gonna go to Colorado. We're gonna camp out. We're gonna go on this trip, and we're gonna go to Europe. And it was so cool when we did this and that, and living the life of non-dependence on God. So those things can become bad if they take away our dependence on the Lord. Our dependence on the Lord is what gives us that abundant life. It's what gives us faith. So it is true that wealth and comfort is a poor substitute for being dependent on the Lord. Nobody wants to admit it. Could you say to those pastors in America that live in those situations, you know what, I want you to give up your salary. I want you to sell the church. I want you to give all the money to missions and poor people or people in the mission field, like Philippine Bible Ministry. I want you to give all that stuff away, and I want you to go get a different job if you need to support your family. And I want you to just break the church up into small groups and make disciples of people and then send them out to make more disciples. Let's see if we can take this world for Christ. We're going to do this in a different way. We're going to see how much of the world we can take. We're going to depend on God and not depend on this corporation that we've set up that is, by the way, state stamped, state approved. Oh my gosh, don't get me going. So one of the worst things the church ever did, starting with the Roman Catholic Church, continuing with the Reformed Church, the Lutheran Church, really continued for years, all the way through the Church of England, was marrying the church and the government together. Not as a theocracy, not saying that the people in the government were obedient to God in that way. It's like we're a theocracy. No, no, no. Saying that you had to have the stamp and the approval and the stickers and the licensing of your church to the government. It's just, I don't know why that came up. This was not what this video is about, but that's just another example of how lost we are and how lost we've become over the centuries. That you actually have to be licensed by the state to perform weddings. I don't know if you realize how unbiblical that is. Who designed marriage? Was it the governments or was it God? So who can perform a marriage? The government? What about churches? Churches are licensed. You have your license, you have your corporation, you have this, the other, you have your lawyers, you set up. Is that pleasing to the? Is that dependence on God? Right. So the whole thing just, I don't know. It smacks of weakness to me. So You could be comfortable. You could be have all this stuff and be happy and just sit around and wait for the last days, or pray for people and try to help people here and there, and then take your trips to Europe or whatever. Enjoy your time, enjoy your life, or you could live your life for Jesus. And I'm not saying you can't do both. Maybe you can. I don't know the balance for you. I know for me, I would rather live my life in as I am right now in not poverty, but dependence on God for the rest of my life than have all that stuff. Take trips. I mean, yeah, sure. Would I like to go to Venice, Italy? Yes, that's my list. Japan, that's would I like to go to Israel? Maybe, but I can't afford all that. And you know what? It's okay because you know what I do have. I have an amazing dependence on God right now, and I wouldn't trade that for all the tea in China. I wouldn't trade that for being a million seller, New York Times bestseller author. Even though I am an author, even though there's parts of me that would love to have some kind of financing for certain things that we feel the Lord wants us to do. But at the end of the day, man, dependence on God is much better. It's better to be blessed are the poor in spirit, right? So, blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those that depend on God. Blessed are those that have to walk by faith. All that other stuff, I don't know. They call it a blessing. America's so blessed because we have, are we? Or are we cursed because we've become fat and sassy and we don't do anything that God told us to do? We just hang out with each other and tell each other how good God is, but don't really experience it because we're not dependent on Him. I hope that makes sense. God bless you guys. Ta ta for now.